Hey, God bless you guys. This is Carlos. You are tuned into Bible Wise Money. And in today's episode, we're going to start a two-part teaching on the power of X and the power of T. Come inside the video and I'll tell you all about it. So one of the concepts that I introduced you to in one of the previous episodes was this idea of X as it relates to selling physical products online. So X would be the multiplication factor, whether it's doubling your money. If you go from $1 to $2, that's 2X. If you go from $1 to $3, that's 3X. And so on and so forth, 4X, 5X, 10X. And it's a great concept for you to really understand and master if you're going to launch an e-commerce business. But I want to make it very practical as well. This idea of X is something that is found in Scripture, and you could also use it not only for starting an e-commerce business, you could use it for paying off your debt faster. You could use it for saving for college education for your kids. You could use it for purchasing your first home. Whatever your financial goals are, everything can happen quicker through the power of X. I feel like, who's that? A superhero, maybe, is it Wonder Woman? Wonder Woman does this. She got the lasso. Oh, she does something with the wrist things. So here's a key portion of Scripture. If you look at the book of Acts, it says in the first 5 chapters that people are being added to the church daily. That's how the church originally grew, is through people being added daily. And sometimes these people were being added by the thousands, even by the tens of thousands. In the Bible, we have what's called the Great Commission, which is to go out as Christians and to proclaim the good news to everyone. Right now, there are 7.6 billion people on the face of the earth. If you can proclaim the gospel, preach, and have 10,000 people added to your church every single day, is that good? Is it enough? In fact, if you could add 10,000 people a day, it would take over 2,000 years to reach everyone on the face of the earth, 7.6 billion people. And that's assuming the population doesn't increase. So chances are, in another 2,000 years, the population of the earth would more than double anyway. So addition is not enough. It's never enough. This is why in the book of Acts, it's so important that the disciples understood that just adding people to the church was not going to be sufficient. They needed the power of multiplication to grow the church and to grow the first century movement that they started. And in the same way, if you're only thinking about addition to increase your finances, addition to reach your financial goals, addition to pay off your debt, addition to save for retirement, addition to buy your first home, to start a business, it will never be enough. You need the power of X. You need the power of multiplication. This is why in Acts chapter 6 to the end of the book, it says the addition stops at Acts chapter 6. From then on, people are no longer being added to the church. It starts saying and using the terminology, great multiplication happens. So if this is important enough to grow the church, how important is it for you to grow your finances? How important is it to reach your goals within your lifetime? Because some of us have goals that are so large, it can become very discouraging. We think the visions that we have and the plans that we have are more than we can accomplish in our lifetimes. And it is, if you only think about addition. We need the power of multiplication. So we already saw in previous episodes that if you can multiply your investment in an e-commerce business, you could reach your goals quicker. Matter of fact, the entire challenge that we've unveiled is a $100 to $10,000 challenge within 10 months. In order to do that, we need multiplication, not addition. And I had previously said, and I think you know by now, the goal is that for every product that we buy, every dollar that we spend on a product, we want to turn into $3 in sales at least. That's 3x factor. That's the goal, 3x. But in fact, this will work whether we're talking about business, e-commerce, or anything at all. I'll give you a couple of examples. If you wanted to save for your college education or save for your children's college education, you can start adding a bunch of these together. $1 bills, 1 plus 1 plus 1, and so on and so forth. It could take quite a long time for you to ultimately save enough for a college education. Or think about it. If you want to pay off debt, you could pay off your debt $1 at a time. It took me over 20 years to get out of commercial credit card debt. It seemed at times it was $1 at a time, over 20 years. However, if you could take this $1 and through multiplication, turn it into $100, how much quicker can you reach any financial goal if you can turn this into this? That's the power of X, the power of multiplication over addition. I think it's interesting that in the Bible, in 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 2, Peter says, grace and peace be multiplied to you. He did not say be added to you. He said be multiplied to you. What we see in the book of Acts is multiplication. What Peter talks about is multiplication, biblical principles. So here's a practical example. Right now, my wife and I are already starting the initial stages of planning for our next home because we need a larger house. And so one of the ways we're going to do that is to multiply the resources that we have and multiply the savings that we have through investment in e-commerce. And so through physical product sales, we're going to be able to turn our ones into hundreds, turn our thousands into 10,000s, and reach our goals that much quicker. This is why I teach and talk about X and the power of X, because I think it's important in every aspect of life. Even if you're thinking, well, my goal is not necessarily to start an e-commerce business. That's fine, I totally get it. Maybe you'll say, I'm going to use some of these products and I'm going to do a little bit of e-commerce, not because I really want to start a mega company, but I want to reach certain financial goals quicker. So Carlos, I'm going to take the 1,000, I'm going to multiply, I'm going to turn it into 5, then I'm going to pay off my debt. Or I'm going to take the 1,000, I'm going to turn it into 10, and I'm going to, like we're doing, I'm going to go on the dream vacation. Or I'm going to take the 2,000, I'm going to multiply it through e-commerce, and I'm going to have the down payment for the house. And you'll be what you're going to find is the same way the church grew in Acts chapter, in the book of Acts, is the same way that your finances can be multiplied to you. And in fact, you'll be able to reach your financial goals a lot quicker if you understand the power of X. Second concept I'm going to teach you about is the power of T. T stands for turnover. I'm going to teach you about that in the next video. Come back. Hopefully you're getting something out of the content. If you can help us out, we would appreciate if you could hit the thumbs up button. If you can also subscribe, there's many more principles that I have to teach from the scripture. And as always, I thank you for your participation and your support. God bless you. That noise you're hearing right now is the dogs. Sumo wrestling under the table. And yeah. The dogs are wilding out. They're going to start barking in a second now. Shut up down there. Okay. There's always something with those two. Shut up.